rounds of the CMMCS in 2022 were held at Brands Hatch on the 12th-13th November weekend, and it was unseasonably mild weather that greeted the drivers for the TinTops and Super Saloons on Saturday for their qualifying session. And this qualifying session was shortened unfortunately to just 10 minutes as incidents in the sessions before ours, and they wanted to conclude the racing by darkness. It'd be Rob Birley on pole position, 47 thousandths of a second ahead of Michael Eustace in second, and both of those had claimed their pole position within their class, Rob Birley within Class A and Michael Eustace within Class C. Ronan Bradley was Class B pole sitter in third with a 52.524, 4/10 of a second behind Rob Birley's pole sitting time of a 52.079. Peter Taylor would mean 4 drivers in the top 4 within their representative classes would be on pole position, as he qualified in 4th place in his Class D BMW E36 M3. He was on a 52.712. Then will come Paul Watson in 5th, Chris Bassett, the leading TinTop, in 6th. Only 1.9 seconds off the pole sitter was an incredibly impressive time from him. Martin Reynolds would be in 7th, followed by Dave Hutchins, the next TinTop, another impressive lap from him. He was only 3.3 seconds off pole in his Honda Civic Type R. Then would come Martin Scott in 9th, followed by Adrian Bradley in 10th. This time Adrian was driving a Volkswagen Golf. Chris Adams was in 11th position. He was driving in the classic Volkswagen Club. He was pole within that section. Then we'll follow Steve Dan in 12th, Jack Whitehead in 13th, Chris Whiteman in 14th, followed by Graham Richardson, who was on Class T1 pole in 15th. Ian Seal putting in an impressive performance, starting in 16th position with a 58.025. He was within the top 5 TinTops in qualifying and also on Class TP pole. Donald Dewar was next, followed by myself. Mason Parker putting in a great performance to finish 19th in qualifying, his first event with the club in his Vauxhall Corsa. He was on Class TH pole. He was ahead of Callum Perfect, also in Class TH in 20th, followed by Alex Martin, who was on Class T3 pole in 21st. James Seals in 22nd, followed by Stephen Watson, followed by Dave Cowan, John Wild and Chris Birley. Alex Coctet was in 27th position, followed by Justin Ross, Peter Osborne and Neil Gardner was the 30th qualifier of the session. And race 1 would see Birley take the initial lead, but a great lunge by Eustace saw him going into the lead, into clearways and emerging in front to continue on. Birley would cling on to this second position as the two would run side by side on multiple attempts, but unfortunately the gap was not there, and for Birley he would have to settle for second position. These two would be pulling away from Ronan Bradley in third and Bassett, who was also right in the mix, in 4th early on. Watson had moved up to 4th on lap number 2 however, and Selden soon got past the white Peugeot 2. And just as things started to settle down, there was a safety car for Callum Perfect, who had had a big moment near clearways. And on lap number 9, the track was now clear once more as the two leaders were looking to try and battle once more for the leading position. They were pulling away from Bradley, who was now in 3rd position. Ronan had Watson right behind him, and on lap number 13, Paul managed to get by. Unfortunately for Ronan, he would later find the gravel at Graham Hill Bend. Unfortunately for him, this would be the end of his race. Luckily, he was far enough away from the track to allow the race to continue. So this would mean that Selden was now in 4th position and Bassett up into a fine 5th position. Further back, there were some more great battles as well. Chris Whiteman had climbed from 14th to 6th position, Jack Whitehead an impressive performance from 13th to 7th, and Steve Dan from 12th to 8th. Hutchins had come home in 9th position from a fast closing Dave Cowan in his BMW, who had gone from 24th to 10th, and this had given him the driver of the race war thanks to the Caesar Electrical sponsor. Chris Adams would be 11th place overall in the first of the classic Volkswagens. Graham Richardson would win Class T1. He was just ahead of Ken Angell, who had fought from the back in his car after starting in 33rd. Donald Dewar was second within the Volkswagen class, ahead of Mason Parker winning Class TH. I managed to get ahead of Ian early on in the race, and after the safety car managed to pull a gap to him and James, who had battled over the second position within Class TP, James making a late move and managing to get past into second. Then behind Ian would be Alex Martin, just ahead of John Wild, allowing Alex to take Class T3 honours and another win for his season, a great result for him. Some big retirements in this race, however, were Martin Reynolds, Martin Scott, Peter Osborne and the unfortunate Bradley and Perfect. So let's run down the order. Michael Eustace would win the race 1.3 seconds ahead of Rob Birley in second, both of those taking class wins. Paul Watson would also win in Class B in third, with Peter Selden also winning Class D in fourth. Chris Bassett, the leading TinTop, was in fifth. He was just ahead of class rival Chris Whiteman in sixth. Jack Whitehead, an impressive performance for him. He would finish in 7th, second within Class C. Then would come Steve Dan, Dave Hutchins, Dave Cowan, Chris Adams would win the Volkswagen class, Graham Richardson would win in the T1 class in 12th, just ahead of Ken Angell and Donald Dewar. Then would come Mason Parker in 15th, winning Class TH. I would win Class TP in 16th, just ahead of James Seal and Ian Seal in 18th. Then it becomes Stephen Watson in 19th in his Volkswagen Scirocco Mark II. He was ahead of Alex Martin, who won Class T3, who had just narrowly beaten out John Wilde to take Class T3 honours, and he finished in 21st. Then would come Chris Birley in 22nd, Adrian Bradley in 23rd after issues throughout the race, and Alex Quashte would take the checker flag in 24th position in his first ever race, which was great to see a class podium for him in third position within Class T3. And race 2 would follow in a similar pattern to the first, with Birley and Eustace battling out front. Again though, it will be the silver BMW taking the lead early on and clinging on to that to take an overall and class victory. A really impressive performance from Michael Eustace. Birley was racing around in second position, putting in some impressive lap times, but they weren't quite as quick as the first. And it would soon become apparent that Rob Birley would have a slow puncture, unfortunately not able to get in the maximum lap time out of his car. But still, a class win in second position was a good result for him. Watson was battling around in third position, did a great job in this race, and Bassett also putting in a great performance once more. A quick start saw him right at the front of the field early on, but unfortunately for him, once the Super Saloons had got their tyres up to temperature, he would drop back to 5th position, but still a really impressive performance from Bassett. Then it would be Peter Selden up in 4th position. He had a pretty lonely race for him. He was going around in 4th position, but some really impressive lap times. As all eyes would focus on Ronan Bradley's charge through the field, he had made it up to 6th position, which had seen him take the Driver of the Race award, thanks once more to Caesar Electronics. 7th place would go to Whiteman, getting into his stride as the day progressed, whilst Cowan, Whitehead and Dan had a really entertaining battle over 8th place in the finishing order. Hutchins would finish as a first lap runner in 11th place, as Adams takes the classic VW class once more. Martin Scott and Adrian Bradley made good progress in their Golfs, whilst the battle for Class T1 honours got a little bit too close, according to the marshals. Subsequently, Richardson getting a small penalty, dropping him behind Angell in the final results. I had a good result in my class as well. I put in some quick lap times early on within Class TP and then backed it off in the second half of the race, and I would win my class and James Seal would finish in 2nd position. Mason Parker would put on another performance. Really good to see him in his Vauxhall Corsa putting in a great performance, and one that we hope to see him back in the CMMCS. So a great result for him. He would finish ahead of Stephen Watson, Ian Seal, Alex Martin, Chris Birley and Alex Quashte. So let's go down the final result here for this second race of the day and the final race of the season. It'll be Michael Eustace winning in his BMW E46 M3, 7.3 seconds ahead of Rob Birley in second. Paul Watson in third and Peter Selden in fourth, followed by Chris Bassett in fifth. All 5 of these drivers were class winners in Class C, A, B, D and T2 respectively. Chris Bassett, of course, the leading TinTop in 5th. Ronan Bradley flying through the field would finish in 6th position, followed by Chris Whiteman in 7th, followed by Dave Cowan in 8th, Jack Whitehead in 9th, Steve Dan in 10th position. Dave Hutchins, another good performance with him in Class T2, would finish 11th, ahead of Chris Adams, the leading Volkswagen, in 12th. Martin Scott would be 13th, followed by Adrian Bradley. Ken Angell, who won Class T1 after the penalty as mentioned before. Graham Richardson, also quick this whole weekend too, would finish in 2nd after that penalty. I would win Class TP in 17th, ahead of James Seal. Mason Parker, the Class TH winner, ahead of Stephen Watson in 20th, Ian Seal in 21st, Alex Martin, the leading T3 driver, in 22nd, followed by Chris Birley and Alex Quashte in 24th position. A second place within Class T3 for him, going one better than the first race. And the non-classified drivers, Callum Perfect, Donald Dewar, John Wild and Paul Keynes and Bernie Baxter were both disqualified from the meeting. So father and son complete their first season of racing together. Let's sum up today at Brands Hatch. Ian, do you want to start off? Good start for the day?
A great start of the day. Qualified polling class, just a smidgen over 58. And yeah, it started well. Should we leave it there?
James, what about race number 1 then?
Race number 1?
Well, starting a bit further down on the grid, Holly was shortened, so there was a mid-start grid, so I had a very much of a watchful start, and yeah, there were plenty of troubles happening on track, lots of yellows, and but fortunately managed to keep my race clean and pick off a few opportunities, including one on chap next to me in the 7th going into paddock, which he then quickly snuck back, and after a short safety car period, I was counting down the laps to be able to execute it again. So yeah, I was, of all the overtakes in race 1, I was quite glad to have executed 2 and finished quite high for the team.
And that led into the second race, starting where we finished. Ian, do you want to start? How did it go for you?
Over race 1, shall we? Race 2, for reasons of what happened in race 1, I was being a little bit more conservative in race 2. A certain driver I wanted to let past me because I didn't fancy him hitting me again. And so I just didn't make the same speed that I had in qualifying or in race 1. But I had a good battle with Alex Martin in the car next to us. In the Clio, I managed to keep him behind me whilst I was fighting Steve Watson in the Scirocco in front of me. And so, yeah, all race long I was sort of trying to get past and defend at the same time, which, as you know, is difficult to do. But very happy with 3rd in class overall.
Great, and that was the last race of the season. Now, season racing together, how's it been? Any particular moments that stand out?
Well, race 1, the very first race where we were able to, as a family, race on track and then finish side by side going through the line and parading. That was quite a special moment. Being able to share a couple of races where we did pit stop races, that was quite a life highlight as well as a season highlight. Obviously the racer in me has enjoyed today as well, and hooking up in race 2 where I personally found that I was on top of the car and got some clean air and found the 57 in me and finished the season quite strong. So yeah, the year's gone a lot better than I thought it could go, and thanks to Colin and the rest of the Super team, and actually I've got a very fun class, very fair class leader deserved to win the championship, and it's been fair and fun.
Thank you to all that have supported the CMMCS throughout 2022. The club has definitely grown over the past year and a half, so we massively appreciate all the drivers, teams, everyone involved for putting in some really great racing out on track and also being a great community within it. So thanks to all, enjoy the winter, be sure to join us for our award ceremony in January too. All invitations will be sent out via email, and of course we'll see you hopefully in 2023, some more great action out on track. Thank you and have a good Christmas. Goodbye.